Let's begin by offering our respects to ISKCON founder Acharya and our preeminent Shiksha Guru, His Divine Grace, A.C. Bhaktivedanta Swami Srila Prabhupada. Srila Prabhupada ki Jai.
Jai.
Om Ajnana Timirandasya Jnananjana Shalakaya Chakshurun Militam Yena Tasmai Shri Gurave Namaha. Nama Om Vishnu Padaya Krishna Prestaya Bhutale Srimate Bhaktivedanta Swamin Iti Namine. Namaste Saraswate Deve Gauravani Pracharine Nirvishesha Shunyavadi Paschatya Deshatarine. Shri Chaitanya Manobhishtam Stapitam Yena Bhutale Swayam Rupa Kadamahyam Dadati Swa Padantikam Vande Ham Shri Guru Shri Yuta Padakamalam Shri Gurun Vaishnavamscha Shri Rupam Sagrajatam Sahagana Ragunatanvitam Tam Sajivam Sadvaitam Savadutam Parijana Sahitam Krishna Chaitanya Devam Shri Radha Krishna Padan Sahagana Lalita Shri Vishakhanvitamscha. He Krishna Karuna Sindhu Dina Bandhu Jagatpate Gopesha Gopika Kanta Radha Kanta Namostute Tapta Kanchana Gaurangi Radhe Vrindavaneshwari Vrishabhanu Sude Devi Pranamami Hari Priye Vancha Kalpataruvyaschа Kripa Sindhuvya Evacha Patitanam Pavanebhyo Vaishnavebhyo Namo Namaha. Jai Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhar Shrivasati Gaura Bhakta Vrinda. Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare Hare. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya.
Om
Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya.
Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya.
Om Namo Bhagavate
Bhagavate
Vasudevaya.
Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya.
Om Namo Bhagavate
Vasudevaya.
Vasudevaya.
Okay, so we welcome all of you to our weekly Krishna book classes. Thank you all very much for joining. We have with us here today Auntie Neeta, Aja, Deepa, Vijay Kumar, Divina, Dipti Adnani, Hari, Jagrati. We have Kamala Nandini Mataji. We have Anjali Karnani, Karuna, Lavina Dadlani, Manju Nihalani. We have Minakshi, N.C. Venkatchari, Priyanka Jha. Then my husband is there. My parents are there. We have Ritu Lalwani, Shailesh Latkar, Sheetal Latkar, Shivani, and we have Shreya Kalaria. No, and we also have Swami, Upasna Dalai, and Vivansh. Okay. So what did we see in the previous class?
About the Narottam Das Thakur.
Did you all read that page
Yes.
about the pastimes?
Yes.
Yes.
Okay. Anybody here who was not able to read because of any reason? Or everybody has read that page?
It's so long.
Yeah, it is very long, but it is very interesting. Because
Yes.
when I started reading, I was not able to stop reading it. It was very, very interesting and very nectarian. That's why I suggested that you read. Okay, anyway, if you have not read, then please take the time out and read it. It's really worth the time. Okay, what else did we see? Krishna, what did
Stealing dresses, gopis, right?
he stole the clothes of the unmarried?
Gopi, unmarried. Yeah.
No, stealing the clothes of the unmarried gopi girls is what we saw in the previous class. And we saw several reasons towards the end as to how we can understand this pastime. Because for a non-devotee, or when we just read or hear about this pastime from non-bona fide sources, then most people tend to misunderstand this pastime. So it's very, very important that we hear from bona fide authorities. And therefore, we are reading from Srila Prabhupada's Kṛṣṇa book so that we can read and understand under our Acharya. Okay. So today, by the mercy of Sri Guru and Sri Krishna, we will be seeing, one second.
Delivering the wives of the Brāhmaṇas.
Yes, exactly. We are seeing chapter number 23. Let me share my screen. Chapter number 23, titled Delivering the Wives of the Brāhmanas for Sacrifices. So let's see. The morning passed, and the cowherd boys were very hungry because they had not eaten breakfast. They immediately approached Kṛṣṇa and Balaram and said, Dear Kṛṣṇa and Balaram, you are both all powerful. You can kill many, many demons. But today we are very much afflicted with hunger, and this is disturbing us. Please arrange for something that will mitigate our hunger. So you see, Kṛṣṇa and Balaram are the go-to people. No, normally when we have some problems, then there will be somebody in our life whom we immediately go to. No, we say the go-to person in case of any issues, any problems. So for the cowherd boys and the whole of Vrindavan, Kṛṣṇa is that go-to person, Kṛṣṇa and Balaram. So now they are hungry and they are saying, you have killed many demons. Now we are having, so kill this demon of hunger also. We are hungry, so now resolve this problem for us. Requested in this way by their friends, Lord Kṛṣṇa and Balaram arranged to show compassion to certain wives of Brāhmanas who were performing sacrifices. These wives were great devotees of the Lord, and Kṛṣṇa took this opportunity to bless them. He said, My dear friends, please go to the house of the Brāhmanas nearby. They are now engaged in performing the Vedic sacrifice known as Angirasa, for they desire elevation to the heavenly planets. All of you please go to them. Then Lord Krishna warned his friends, These Brahmanas are not Vaishnavas. They cannot even chant our names, Krishna and Balaram. They are very busy in chanting the Vedic hymns, although the purpose of Vedic knowledge is to find me. But because they are not attracted by the names of Krishna and Balaram, you had better not ask them for anything in my name. Better ask for some charity in the name of Balaram. So now Krishna wants to accomplish more than one task at one time. So and he wants to show compassion to the wives of the Brahmanas. So these Brahmanas are performing sacrifices. And what is their goal? Why are they doing these sacrifices? Why are they doing this yajna? What do they want?
Elevation to the heavenly planets.
Heavenly planets. Elevation to the heavenly planets. So that is a material desire or it's a spiritual desire?
Material desire.
Material. Why is it material?
Because it's temporary and you'll have to come back after you've.
Because heavenly planets are still in the material world, no? And because it's in the material world, although One can enjoy there for extended periods of time, but still we have to come back. So when do we come back from the heavenly planets?
When we have finished
When our
enjoying
pious
the
activities
Service.
expires, and then we are
Yes.
put down again
benefits.
to the earth.
Yes, perfect. Correct. So these Brahmanas are doing these yagyas not out of pure devotion, but they are doing it because they desire something for their own sense gratification. Okay, Shailesh, you have your hand raised?
Yep. It says here they were performing sacrifices. So, is that a synonym for yajna, or is this something separate?
No, it's a yagya. It's a fire sacrifice. Yagya is called as a fire sacrifice. Okay. All right. So elevation to heaven, is it permanent? We've already answered that question. So say here, this is our universe. We know that there are millions of universes that are coming from the body of Mahavishnu every time he breathes out. And this is our universe. It has 14 planetary systems. The highest planet here is the abode of Lord
Satyaloka.
Satyaloka or Brahmaloka. And Swargaloka is here. No, we are here. Swargaloka is between where we are and where Lord Brahma is. So this is still the material world. So it's not very intelligent to desire for something that is only temporary. Because beyond this universe and beyond all these millions of universes that are coming from the body of Mahavishnu is here, Goloka, where Srimati Radharani and Krishna are residing eternally as a 14 and 16-year-old. No? 14-year-old, Srimati Radharani is 14-year-old and Sri Krishna is 16-year-old. And here the petals of this lotus are the Vaikuntha planets. So intelligence is to ask that which will last eternally. Sri Krishna in the Bhagavad Gita, he says, those who study the Vedas and drink the Soma juice, seeking the heavenly planets, worshipping me indirectly, purified of sinful reactions, they take birth on the pious heavenly planet of Indra, where they enjoy godly delights. So actually, even these Brahmanas who are doing these yagyas, they are also indirectly worshipping Krishna only. But they are not aware that actually they are worshipping Krishna, because Krishna is the recipient of did I put that verse here?
Is the enjoyer of all the sacrifices.
Yeah, he's the ultimate enjoyer, the ultimate beneficiary of all the sacrifices. Correct. I thought I put that verse here. Okay, anyway. And see here what Krishna says in the 8th chapter of the Bhagavad Gita. He says, from the highest planet in the material world down to the lowest, all are places of misery, wherein repeated birth and death take place. For one who attains to my abode, O son of Kunti, never takes birth again. So it doesn't matter where we are in the material world, doesn't matter we are in the topmost planet or the lowest planet, all are places of misery. What is so miserable in all these planetary systems? The problem here is that there is repeated birth and death. And birth and death is very, very painful, and again taking birth means doing the whole thing all over again. Now we have lived a certain number of years. Now some of us may have raised kids, some of us have completed our education, worked very hard. But if we were to do the whole thing all over again go back to nursery, again study, again get our degrees, again raise kids from the time they are born, again educate them, get them married. So it's not something that we would like to do, no? So birth and death means we have to do the whole thing all over again and again and again and again. So because these are places of repeated birth and death, therefore they're all places of misery, Krishna is saying. Yeah, Aja, you have your hand raised.
Mataji, yeah, this picture. I don't see Goloka here. It comes under Satyaloka. Where is?
No, Goloka. See here, you can see Goloka. This universe that you see here is our universe, which you see here.
Okay.
So like this, there are millions of universes, but beyond
Okay.
this entire material realm, here is Goloka.
Oh, okay.
And these are the Vaikuntha planets.
Okay, so that means it is above the Satyaloka and everything.
Yes, yes, much
Oh,
above.
okay. Thanks.
Okay.
Mataji, can I ask you one question?
Yes.
So is Brahma in Goloka or is he in our universe?
No, Lord Brahma is here. He's in the Satyaloka. The topmost planet in the material world is the abode of Lord Brahma.
So above this is Golok, right?
Yes.
Okay. Thank
Beyond,
you.
see, this is only our universe. You have to understand that there are millions of such universes, and beyond all those universes, not just our universe. Let me zoom this. Beyond all these universes, you can see here. Here you have Ananta Shesha down, and on the hoods of Ananta Shesha are all these universes. And we have discussed how he feels the weight of all these universes, just like how one would feel the weight of a mustard seed on the head. No? So he's holding all these universes, and this is our universe. Our universe is the smallest of all the universes, but there are other universes that are coming here. You can see here, coming from the body of Kṛṣṇa Vishnu or Mahavishnu. So all these egg-shaped universes are coming from his breathing. So he is lying between the material and the spiritual worlds. Beyond this, you can see Krishna's effulgence, Brahma Jyoti. All these planets are floating in the Brahma Jyoti. And then you have here Lord Shiva. Lord Shiva is between the material and the spiritual worlds. Now, beyond the abode of Lord Shiva is Aishwarya Dham, or the Vaikuntha planets. So this is predominated by opulence. Here, the residents of these Vaikuntha planets, they all know that Krishna is God. That Krishna is God. So you can see here all the Narayan expansions are here. They are called as. Here you can see there is Lord Narsimha, there is Lord Buddha, there is Varahadev, there is Matsya, there is Vamanadev.
Also, Sadashiva is there. Sadashiva. I've seen some.
Yes. There is one manifestation of Lord Shiva is in the Vaikuntha planets, correct?
So Mataji, once the planets that you just showed, this one. So once you go here, do you still come back to this material world?
No,
I
even
don't
the Vaikuntha planets are the spiritual world. So if you're in Vaikuntha, you don't come back, and if you're in Goloka also, you don't come back.
Okay, so can one from Vaikuntha Loka go to Golok?
Yes, one can. If one deserves and if one desires, one can get an upgrade from Vaikuntha to Goloka also.
Thank you.
And the Brajavasis are from that Madhurya Dham, I think, right?
Yes.
Okay.
Correct. So here you can see beyond the Vaikuntha planets is the Madhurya Dham. You have here Goloka. Now in the peripheral of Goloka, you have Dwarka, you have Mathura, and you have Ayodhya. Because one may be attracted to that form of the Lord as Lord Ramachandra. Now one may be attracted to Krishna in the form of a king, where he is living in Dwarka as a king. No, one may be attracted to Krishna as he is in Mathura, or one may be attracted to Krishna as he is in Goloka. So depending on where what is one's natural attraction, depending on what one desires, and also depending on what one deserves, one goes to these different places in the spiritual world.
Mataji, where's Madhuri Dham? No, sorry, the Dham where Brajvasis come from?
Golok Vrindavan.
Oh, Golok. Okay, thank you.
Okay. Yes, Shailesh?
What is the difference between Madhurya Dham and the Vaikuntha planets?
So Madhurya means sweetness. And in the Madhurya Dham, Krishna's sweetness is more prominent. For example, when he's playing these pastimes, childhood pastimes, his sweetness is more prominent. In Damodar Leela, his sweetness is more prominent. In Aishwarya Dham, his opulence is more prominent. Krishna has two aspects, opulence and sweetness. So opulence means he is the Supreme Personality of Godhead. He is the master of all mystic power. He is the supreme controller. All that is his opulence. Okay.
And this the planets that are there in the Vaikuntha Loka, So that is one for each universe, or how is it?
No. All these universes, this entire material will, all these universes are one corner of the spiritual sky. So you imagine like that, the whole spiritual world. And one corner of the spiritual world is this entire material world with all these millions of universes. It is described, it is 1/4 of the entire spiritual sky. Material world is 1/4 of the entire spiritual sky. It's like one dark corner, one dark cloud, no? One dark corner of the spiritual sky is the material world. And when we say material world, it includes all these millions of universes.
Why are there multiple Vaikuntha planets? That's what I wanted to understand.
Because all these different Vaikuntha planets are with different manifestations of the Narayan expansions of the Lord. Now, Narayan 400 form, but there are different manifestations of Narayan. So one may have attraction for one particular form of Narayan. Now Narayan has four things in his hands, no? So it's not always the same. Which hand he's holding the lotus flower and which hand he's holding the conch. It's not always the same. It's all different in different Narayan forms. So one may have a certain attraction for one particular form of the Lord. So one goes where one desires to go according to his natural attraction. That's why there are different Vaikuntha planets. There is variety in the spiritual world. Okay.
So are you saying that Madhurya Dhama, those are all in Vaikuntha planet, right? No,
Yes.
that's about
No. Madhurya Dham is Golok.
okay.
Golok,
So
Mathura, Dwarka, and Ayodhya. All this is Madhurya Dham. And the Vaikuntha planets is Aishwarya Dham. That's
there
why
are
in the
different.
Vaikuntha planets, the residents of Vaikuntha planet, they know that Krishna is the Supreme Personality of Godhead because that's where his opulence is coming from.
So just now you were explaining there are different Vaikuntha Loka
Yes.
other than this one, right?
Yeah, all
What
these are all
saying?
Vaikuntha planets. Now, all these circles that you see here, they're all different.
Oh, okay.
These are all the Vaikuntha planets.
Okay.
Oh boy, where did I go?
Charity is generally given to the high class. That
Yes. Yeah, here. Charity is generally given to high-class Brahmanas, but Krishna and Balaram did not appear in a Brahmana family. Balaram was known as the son of Vasudeva, a Kshatriya, and Krishna was known in Vrindavan as the son of Nanda Maharaj, who was a Vaishya. Neither belonged to the Brahmana community. Therefore, Krishna is considered that the Brahmanas engaged in performing sacrifices might not be induced to give charity to a Kshatriya and Vaishya, but at least if you utter the name of Balaram, they may prefer to give in charity to a Kshatriya rather than to me because I am only a Vaishya. So Krishna is telling them that they may agree to give charity to Balaram because he is known as the son of Vasudeva, who is a Kshatriya. No? So we know in the Varnashram system there are Brahmanas, Kshatriya, Vaishya, and Shudra. So charity is normally given to devotees, to Vaishnavas, to Brahmanas because they will use it in the service of Krishna. Thus, being ordered by the Supreme Personality of Godhead, all the boys went to the Brahmanas and began to ask for some charity. They approached them with folded hands and fell down on the ground to offer respect. O earthly gods, kindly hear us, who are ordered by Lord Krishna and Balaram. We hope you know them both very well and we wish you all good fortune. Krishna and Balaram are tending cows nearby and we have accompanied them. We have come to ask for some food from you. You are all Brahmanas and knowers of religious principles, and if you think that you should give us charity, then give us some food, and we shall all eat along with Krishna and Balaram. You are the most respectable Brahmanas from the human society, and you are expected to know all the principles of religious procedure. So they are going to the Brahmanas and they said, you are the knower of religion because they know Shastras. And they say, all right, now we have come to ask for charity. Please give us some food and we will eat it along with Krishna and Balaram. Although the boys were village boys and were not expected to be learned in all the Vedic principles of religious ritual, they hinted that because of their association with Krishna and Balaram, they knew all those principles. By addressing the Brahmanas as knowers of all religious principles, the boys expressed the point of view that when the Supreme Personality of Godhead, Krishna and Balaram, were asking for food, the Brahmana should immediately deliver some without hesitation because, as stated in the Bhagavad Gita, one should perform yajna only for the satisfaction of Vishnu. So again we come to this point which we discussed in the previous class. Krishna says, Sarva dharmam parityaja mamekam sharanam raja. So that's what, no? Krishna says that give up all varieties of religion and simply surrender unto me. So what these boys are saying here, that because we are asking for Krishna and Balaram, therefore, even though you may have other religious principles about giving a charity, but when it comes to Krishna and Balaram, one must just deliver some food without any hesitation, because after all, you're doing this yajna for the satisfaction of Lord Vishnu only. See here, Srila Prabhupada writes, by addressing, no, where was that?
Although the boys
Although
were
the boys are village
very
boys and were not expected to be learned in the Vedic principles of religious ritual, they hinted that because of their association with Krishna and Balaram, they knew all these principles. So even though they have not gone to a Gurukul and received formal education like these other Brahmana boys, still they know religion, still they know Shastra because they are associating with Krishna and Balaram. So they are learned. They are learned. They are not illiterates, these Gopa boys. The boys continued, Lord Vishnu as Krishna and Balaram is standing waiting, and you should immediately deliver whatever food you have in your stock. They also explained to the Brahmanas when food is to be accepted and when it is not to be accepted. Generally, the Vaishnavas or pure devotees of the Lord do not take part in ordinary sacrificial performances, but they know very well the ceremonials called Diksha, Pashu, Samstha, and Sautramani. One is permitted to take food after the procedure of Diksha and before the animal sacrificial ceremony and the Sautramani, or ceremony in which liquors are also offered. The boy said, we can take your food at the present stage of your ceremony, for now it will not be prohibited. You can deliver us the food. So they even know the technicalities. These cowherd boys also know the technicalities, because the yagya has not yet been completely finished yet. No, they are still midway, and they know at which point food can be delivered and food cannot be delivered. So even those technicalities these boys knew because they are educated because of their association with Krishna and Balaram. So one may question here, how come there is animal being sacrificed? How come liquors are also being offered in the yagyas and we are not allowed to consume this? Yeah, Aja, you have your hand raised?
Exactly, that's what my question was.
That
why
was
do we support that animal sacrifice if we advise non-violence?
yeah, so we have to remember that. Okay, let's first discuss with animal sacrifice. So, as I said, in the previous yugas, the Brahmanas were very highly qualified. They were very powerful, potent, and they would sacrifice animals in the fire. Horses were sacrificed, cows were sacrificed. But then after the sacrifice, they would chant mantras and they would bring the animal back to life. That's how powerful they were. And the animal also that is being sacrificed also gets benefited spiritually because the animal is rendering service to the Lord, and also materially because the animal gets a brand new fresh youthful body. You ask any aged person if they would like to have a youthful body of a 20-year-old, definitely, why not, they will accept it. No, so the animal gets a brand new fresh youthful body, so like that the animal is also getting benefited. Now in Kali Yuga, all kinds of animal sacrifice is completely prohibited because we do not have such qualified Brahmanas anymore. No Brahmana in Kali Yuga can chant mantra and bring the dead animal back to life. So in Kali Yuga, this is completely prohibited. Now, as far as liquor is concerned, okay, I didn't put that thing here. Okay, so it is described how the Brahmanas would offer a liquid that is made from plants, no, and they would partake it, and that is called as somras. But this somras is not like the modern day alcoholic drinks that intoxicate one and one start to behave like a madman. No, now when people take alcohol, they start behaving like they are mad. Even a very highly educated person will behave very foolishly when he's under the influence of alcohol. But this juice that they would offer, this beverage that the Brahmanas would offer, that would actually spiritually uplift them. No, it would increase their health. I mean, increase their lifespan, improve their health, and it would uplift them spiritually. It is not like the modern day alcoholic drinks. We should not misunderstand that for the modern day alcoholic drinks. So therefore, it was sanctioned. Does that answer your question, Aja?
Yes, Mataji. You have explained this before, so I don't know how I forgot. But it reminded me, yeah.
Yeah, okay. Yeah, Kali Yuga memory, no? We are all in Kali Yuga, so memories are short. Anyways. Although the companions of Lord Krishna and Balaram were simple cowherd boys, they were in a position to dictate even to the high-class Brahmanas engaged in the Vedic rituals of sacrifice. But the Smarta Brahmanas, who were simply sacrificial-minded, could not understand the dictation of the transcendental devotees of the Lord. They could not even appreciate the begging of the Supreme Lord Krishna and Balaram. Although they heard all the arguments on behalf of Krishna and Balaram, they did not care for them and they refused to speak to the boys. Despite being highly elevated in the knowledge of Vedic sacrificial rites, all such non devotee Brahmanas, although they think of themselves as very highly elevated, are ignorant, foolish persons. All their activities are childish because they do not know the purpose of the Vedas, as it is explained in the Bhagavad Gita, to understand Krishna. In spite of their advancement in Vedic knowledge and rituals, they do not understand Krishna. Therefore, their knowledge of the Vedas is useless. Lord Chaitanya therefore gave his valuable opinion that although a person may not be born in a Brahmin family, if he knows Krishna or the science of Krishna consciousness, he is more than a Brahmana and is quite fit to become a spiritual master. So see here, these Brahmanas, they are high class Brahmanas, but they do not understand bhakti. No, there is no bhakti in their heart. They are smarta Brahmanas. Smarta Brahmanas are those Brahmanas who are simply sacrificial minded, but they cannot understand the dictation of the transcendental devotees of the Lord. So they are so attached to, see, these Smarta Brahmanas, they are very expert in performing rituals, different ceremonies, different yagyas, chanting of the mantras, all that. But at the end of the day, one has to have bhakti in the heart, because bhakti is what pleases the Lord. So they engage in all these rituals, all these yagyas, pujas. They can sing many bhajans and recite shlokas, and all these ritualistic ceremonies they can perform very expertly. But they do not understand the spirit behind these rituals. There is no bhakti in their heart. They are very proud of their knowledge. They are very proud that, oh, we are Brahmanas, but they do not understand devotion. They do not understand bhakti. So they are called as Smarta Brahmanas. And all this knowledge that they have is useless because there is no bhakti. There is no bhakti. There is no, what is the point in engaging in the rituals if one does not understand the spirit behind the ritual? So that is what the word spiritual means. Spirit plus ritual means spiritual. Yes, rituals are important, but we have to understand the spirit behind the ritual. So although not educated from the external angle of vision, the Gopas know it all. How? Let's see what Krishna says in the Bhagavad Gita. Krishna says, to those who are constantly devoted to serving me with love, I give the understanding by which they can come to me. So although one may not be educated formally, no, these Gopa friends have not gone to the Gurukul, but they are constantly devoted to serving Krishna with love. Priti Purvakam. Their bhajatam, their devotion is Priti Purvakam. They are serving Krishna with love. And when one serves Krishna with love, then Krishna gives the understanding. Krishna will give knowledge. Krishna will give the jnana. So bhakti automatically leads to jnana. Bhakti leads to jnana. Then in the next verse, 10.11, Krishna says, to show them special mercy, I, dwelling in their hearts, destroy with the shining lamp of knowledge the darkness of ignorance. So when we are in a pitch dark room, no, very, very dark, even one small little candle will dispel the darkness in that room. So Krishna is that light. No, Krishna is that light. He is there in our heart as a super soul, and he will dispel the darkness of ignorance with the shining lamp of knowledge. To whom? To those who engage in constantly, not only engage in serving Krishna with love, but are constantly engaged. Satatam. No? So bhakti should be satatam, and it should be priti purvakam. It should be constant, and it should be done with love. Yeah, Shivani, you have your hand raised.
Yeah, Mataji, I'm sorry, I missed. Can you tell me one more time what is Smarta Brahmanas?
Smarta Brahmanas are those Brahmanas who engage in rituals without understanding the spirit behind the rituals. They are performing yagyas and pujas, and they can recite shlokas, but they do not have bhakti in their heart.
Okay, thank you so much.
Hare Krishna. See, with regard to this, you can read the story of Lord Chaitanya and the illiterate Brahman in the Ranganath temple. You can see how this Brahman was illiterate, but still, illiterate means he does not even know how to read and write, no? But still, Chaitanya Mahaprabhu told him that, yes, you have understood the Bhagavad Gita to perfection. So this is a very, very nice, interesting pastime. Please do read it. In the next class, we will have an exam based on this particular section, based on this particular homework. So this is when Lord Chaitanya Mahaprabhu went for a yatra to South India, and he had visited this Ranganath Swami temple at Sri Rangam. It's in Tamil Nadu. Very, very big temple, huge temple. It's one of the largest temples in the world. It's some over 300 kilometers from Chennai. There you can see the deity of Ranganath Swami. He's in a reclining position, the deity of Lord Vishnu. He's in the reclining position. Very huge deity also. And this temple is also called as Periya Koil. Periya means big in Tamil. It's called as Periya Koil because it's a huge, big temple, as I said. It's also called as Bhuloka Vaikuntham. Bhulok means our earthly planet, and Vaikunta means the spiritual world. So this is the spiritual world on Bhuloka. This temple is called as Bhuloka Vaikuntham. So Lord Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, he had visited Sri Rangam, and that time he went to have darshan of this Ranganath, the deity, 27 feet long reclining deity of Lord Vishnu. At that time, he comes across this illiterate Brahmana. Very nice, interesting story. So please do read it. Okay, so Krishna, here we can read. See, all their activities are childish because they do not know the purpose of the Vedas as it is explained in Bhagavad Gita to understand Krishna. So all the purpose of the Vedas is to understand Krishna, and we have evidence here. Krishna himself says this in the Bhagavad Gita 15th chapter. He says, I am seated in everyone's heart, and from me come remembrance, knowledge, and forgetfulness. By all the Vedas, I am to be known. Krishna himself is saying that from all the Vedas, I am to be known. And then he says, I am the compiler of Vedanta, and I am the knower of the Vedas. He is Vedai says, Sarvair aham eva vedyo. From all the Vedas, aham eva vedyo. I should be known, Krishna is saying. And then he is saying that he is Vedanta Krit. He is the compiler of the Vedas, and he is Vedavit. He is the knower of the Vedas also. So Krishna himself declares this in the Bhagavad Gita. There are various details to be observed in the performance of sacrifices. They are known as Desha, place, Kala, time, Prathak Dravya, the different detailed paraphernalia, mantra, hymns, tantra, scriptural evidences, Agni, fire, Ritvik, learned performers of sacrifices, Devata, the demigods, Yajaman, the performer of the sacrifices, Kratu, the sacrifice itself, and Dharma, the procedures. All these are for satisfying Krishna. It is confirmed in the Bhagavad Gita that he is the actual enjoyer of all sacrifices because he is directly the Supreme Personality of Godhead and the Supreme Absolute Truth beyond the conception or speculation of the material senses. He is present just like an ordinary human boy, but for persons who identify themselves with the body, it is very difficult to understand him. The Brahmanas were very much interested in the comforts of the material body and in elevation to the higher planetary residences called Swargavas. They were therefore completely unable to understand the position of Krishna. So such Smarta Brahmanas, they cannot understand Krishna because they are still on the bodily concept of life. Although they may be very expert in rituals and pujas and reciting prayers, but they cannot understand God. So Brahmanas are foolish and ignorant. They do not know the purpose of the Vedas. Why? Let's see what Krishna says.
Even though they recite everything, they don't know the purpose.
No. That's what they
Because
theoretically may read, but they don't have the realization. They don't get the realization. See, Krishna says here in the Bhagavad Gita, I am the only enjoyer and master of all sacrifices. Therefore, those who do not recognize my true transcendental form, transcendental nature, fall down. So Krishna says he is the enjoyer and master of all sacrifices. So any yagya we do, any sacrifice we do, Krishna is the only enjoyer and master of all the sacrifices. He is the ultimate beneficiary of all these sacrifices. But those who do not recognize this, those who do not recognize, Krishna says, those who did not recognize my true transcendental form, transcendental nature, they fall down. They will not get their next birth in a highly elevated Brahman family or devotee family. They fall down. And Kali Yuga is full of such Smarta Brahmanas, unfortunately. Then Krishna, what does he say next? He says, yeah, a person who accepts the path of devotional service is not bereft of the results derived from studying the Vedas, performing sacrifices, undergoing austerities, giving charity, or pursuing philosophical and fruitive activities. Simply by performing devotional service, he attains all this, and at the end, he reaches the supreme eternal abode. So in the previous shloka, we are seeing how Krishna says that those who do not recognize Krishna's true transcendental nature, they fall down. But on the other hand, if one is engaged in devotional service, if one is engaged in bhakti, then automatically he gets the benefit. By default, he gets the benefit of studying the Vedas, performing all the yagyas, performing all sacrifices, undergoing austerities, tapasya, giving charity, or pursuing philosophical and fruitive activities. No, by default, you are considered to have done all these things if you are simply engaged in devotional service. You don't have to separately do all these things to get the benefit. You do this, automatically all this thing comes by default. And then at the end, he attains the supreme eternal abode. So who do you think is more elevated? A devotee or a Smarta Brahmana, a non-devotee Smarta Brahmana?
A devotee.
devotee.
Definitely, no? Definitely a Vaishnava is more elevated than the Brahmanas. Okay, let's continue with Krishna book. When the boys saw that the Brahmanas would not reply to them, even with a simple yes or no, they became very much disappointed. They then returned to Lord Krishna and Balaram and explained everything that had happened. After hearing their statements, the Supreme Personality of Godhead smiled. He told them that they should not be sorry for being refused by the Brahmanas because that is the way of begging. He convinced them that one who is engaged in collecting or begging should not think that he will be successful everywhere. He may be unsuccessful in some places, but that should not be the cause for disappointment. Lord Krishna then asked all the boys to go again, but this time to the wives of those Brahmanas engaged in sacrifices. He also informed them that these wives were great devotees. They are always absorbed in thinking of us. Go there and ask for some food in my name and the name of Balaram, and I am sure that they will deliver you as much food as you desire. So they have not got food from the Brahmanas, the Smarta Brahmanas, and they go to Krishna. And now Krishna is telling them, now you go to the wives of these Brahmanas. Now, what is the difference between the Brahmanas and their wives? The Brahmanas are not devotees, but the wives are great devotees. So Krishna says that they will definitely deliver you the food that you want. Yeah, Shreya, you have your hand raised?
Yes, so why did the Brahmanas not give like simple food to them? Is it because they were engaged in those sacrifices, or is it because they are just like that?
Yeah, they first of
They
all, they
were
are not giving
afraid.
importance to Krishna and Balaram because they are not the high class Brahman society, so called, and they are in the midst of their yagya. The yagya has not yet been completed, and they do not recognize Krishna and Balaram. There is no love in their heart for
Yes.
Krishna and Balaram. Therefore, they have not given that charity.
So they will just give food to Brahmanas, not like
Yeah,
Krishna.
it's not mentioned exactly what they are thinking, what is it that is holding them back, but the point is because there is no bhakti in their heart, they don't
Mhm.
see Krishna and Balaram. There is, see, it's just like that the fruit vendor. No, the fruit vendor, she had a basket full of fruits and Krishna wanted the fruits, and then it was a barter system. So Krishna said, okay, I'll give you some grains, but his hands are so small. By the time he got some grains from his house, there were hardly any left in his small tiny palms. But the fruit vendor gave him all her fruits because there is love in the heart. The Brahmanas don't have that love in their hearts. They simply love.
But
So they
Mataji,
are not, they don't have that attraction for Krishna and Balaram. It's not specifically mentioned what is the reason, what exactly they were thinking, but there is no natural affection that, okay, Krishna is here, doesn't matter what the rituals say, but we want to please Krishna, so just give and let's please Krishna.
But
And
they
it's
don't bring
also mentioned
Krishna, right?
somewhere that they only eat after the yajna, right? Not before that. I remember reading somewhere.
No, see here, if you want to see into those technicalities, we saw, no, the Brahman boys are telling them that at this point you can deliver us because it was after a particular ceremony and before the animal sacrifice and before the that beverage was offered. So they tell him that even though if you are thinking like that, you can still give charity at that point of time. Where did we read that? Here, see.
Okay.
One is permitted to take food after the procedure of Diksha and before the animal sacrificial ceremony and Sautramani or ceremony in which liquors are also offered. The boy said, we can take your food at the present stage of your ceremony. For now, it will not be prohibited. So technically, if they want to go into technicalities also, that technicality also is being fulfilled because at that stage it is allowed. It's
Okay.
not prohibited to take food.
but Mataji, one question I have in mind
Yes.
is when Krishna told them that not to take his name, only to mention the name of Balarama, why did they take both the names?
Yes. I had the exact same question when I read that section. So then I read the commentary. Srila Vishwanath Chakravarti Thakur, he explains in his commentary that when they went to Krishna and Balaram, when they went to the Brahmanas, they told them that we are asking charity for Krishna and Balaram and all of us, but Balaram will be the first recipient of that charity. So first they will give him to eat and then the rest of them will eat. So they mentioned that to them, that first, Balaram will be the first recipient, like he'll be the VIP, no, the most important personality who will first receive this, what you're going to give us in charity. So that they did tell them.
Okay. Since it was not mentioned, nothing like this, so I was
Yeah.
wondering when Krishna prohibido, he said
Yes.
not to take his name. Why did they take?
Yes. Yes.
Okay.
Yeah.
Got it. Got it. Thank you.
You're welcome. Yeah, Priyanka Jha.
Hare Krishna Mataji Panchang Pranam. Actually, I have one question. Um, the Brahmanas are supposed to receive charity, right? So why did Krishna and Balram choose to go to Brahman? Because the duty of Brahman is to receive charity instead of giving charity, right? And
No.
the duty of Kshatriya is to give the charity
Okay,
to Brahmanas.
so the Brahmanas have 6 duties. The 6 duties of Brahmanas are to receive charity and to give charity. When they receive more than what they require for their maintenance, then they have to give charity. They should not keep it with themselves. So to give charity also is one of the 6 duties of the Brahmana.
Okay, Mata. Thank you. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna.
Mataji, sorry, but like, I'm not getting like why would Brahmanas not give food? It's basic, right? Like even if they don't know like Krishna is Krishna, right? It's a simple boy. Then also they should give food. In Kali Yuga also we don't discriminate like that. We give food to everyone. Then this is the Dwapar Yuga.
Yeah, we as devotees don't discriminate, but there are many non-devotees who do discriminate, even in Kali Yuga. So what exactly the Brahmanas were thinking at that time, I was not able to find in the commentary of Srila Vishwanath Chakravarti Thakur. The only reason and the only thing that I can understand from this is because there is no bhakti in the heart. They didn't give so much importance to what these boys were saying. They did not say, now they did not reveal, they did not speak. The Brahmanas did not say, we will not give you charity for such a reason. So they were thinking something, but what they were thinking at that time, we don't know. The only thing is, or at least I don't know. The only thing I know is they did not give importance to what they were saying, and they were more focused on the rituals of the yajna at that time. Okay.
No, because Brahmanas were afraid of Kṛṣṇa.
They were afraid of Kamsa, so they didn't want to give charity.
Yeah, they didn't want it to
It's
know how the
mentioned at the end of the chapter.
Oh, is it? Is it mentioned that they didn't give charity because they were afraid of Kamsa?
yes.
No, it is mentioned that they don't go and meet Krishna and Balaram because they are afraid of Kansa. It's mentioned at the end of the chapter.
Okay, let's see. We'll get there. Carrying out Krishna's order, the boys immediately went to the wives of the Brahmanas. They found the wives sitting inside the Brahmana's house. They were very beautifully decorated with ornaments. After offering them all respectful obeisances, the boys said, Dear mothers, please accept our humble obeisances and hear our statement. May we inform you that Lord Krishna and Balaram are nearby. They have come here with the cows, and you may know also that we have come under their instructions. All of us are very hungry, therefore we have come to you for some food. Please give us something to eat for Krishna, Balaram, and ourselves. Immediately upon hearing this, the wives of the Brahmanas became anxious for Krishna and Balaram. Their reactions were spontaneous. They did not have to be convinced of the importance of Krishna and Balaram. Immediately upon hearing their names, they became very eager to see them. Being advanced by thinking of Krishna constantly, they were performing the greatest form of mystic meditation. All the wives then became very busily engaged in filling up different pots with nice food. Due to the performance of the sacrifice, the various foods were all very palatable. After collecting a feast, they prepared to go to Krishna, their most beloved object, exactly in the way rivers flow to the sea. For a long time, the wives had been eager to see Krishna. However, when they were preparing to leave home to go see them, their husbands, fathers, sons, and relatives asked them not to go. But the wives did not comply. When a devotee is called by the attraction of Krishna, he does not care for bodily ties. The women entered the forest of Vrindavan on the bank of the Yamuna, which was verdant with vegetation and newly grown vines and flowers. Within that forest, they saw Krishna and Balaram engaged in tending the cows along with their affectionate boyfriends. The Brahmana's wife saw Krishna with a blackish complexion wearing a garment that glittered like gold. He wore a nice garland of forest flowers and a peacock feather on his head. He was also painted with the minerals found in Vrindavan, and he looked exactly like a dancing actor on a theatrical stage. They saw him resting one hand on the shoulder of his friend, and in his other hand he was holding a lotus flower. His ears were decorated with lilies, he wore marks of tilak, and he was smiling charmingly. With their very eyes, the wives of the Brahmanas saw the Supreme Personality of Godhead, of whom they had heard so much, who was so dear to them, and in whom their minds were always absorbed. Now they saw him eye to eye and face to face, and Krishna entered within their hearts through their eyes. Within themselves, they began to embrace Krishna to their heart's content, and the distress of separation was mitigated immediately. They were just like great sages who, by their advancement of knowledge, merge into the existence of the Supreme. As a super soul living in everyone's heart, Lord Krishna could understand their minds, and they had come to him despite all the protests of their relatives, fathers, husbands, and brothers, and despite all the duties of household affairs. They came just to see him, who was their life and soul. They were exactly following Krishna's instruction in the Bhagavad Gita. One should surrender to him, giving up all varieties of occupational and religious duties. He therefore began to speak to them, smiling very magnificently. It should be noted in this connection that when Krishna entered into the wives' hearts and when they embraced him, and felt the transcendental bliss of being merged with him, the Supreme Lord Krishna did not lose his identity, nor did the individual wives lose theirs. The individuality of both the Lord and the wives remain, and yet they felt oneness in existence. When a lover submits to his lover without any pinch of personal consideration, that is called oneness. Lord Chaitanya has taught us this feeling of oneness in his Shikshastaka. Krishna may act freely, doing whatever he likes, but the devotee should always be in oneness or in agreement with his desires. That oneness was exhibited by the wives of the Brahmanas in their love for Krishna. Shailesh, you have your hand raised?
The wives of the Brahmanas, they are able to understand that Krishna is the supreme personality of Godhead. But why is it that Vrijvasis never realize that? Because they have been with him for so long. So why is it?
Yeah, because Yogamaya covers their intelligence. Yogamaya, who's Krishna's expansion, under the instruction of Krishna, covers their intelligence and covers this understanding of them that Krishna is God. Now, why does Krishna instruct Yogamaya to do that? Is because he wants to enhance the loving transcendental pastimes between him and his devotees. If the Vrajavasis know that Krishna is God, the relationship will change to a very formal relationship. But when they are on this, when the relationship has spontaneous love, for example, Krishna sometimes is massaging the feet of his friends. They are exchanging lunch boxes. Krishna is eating, and then the Gopa friends are also eating. Krishna is eating from the lunch box, which means he's eating the juta of the Gopa friends. No, they are riding on Krishna's back. Now, if they know that Krishna is God, they will not be able to perform such pastimes with Krishna, because immediately the relationship is that of reverence. So the relationship becomes very formal. Now, just as how when you go to your office, the relationship between you and your those people who are working under you in an office, their relationship is more formal. But when you're in your house, maybe your child is riding on your back. Now, one may be the CEO of a great company, but when he's in the house, the relationship is more informal. So in order to enhance the leelas, the loving pastimes, therefore Krishna covers this understanding of the Vrajavasis that Krishna is God. Okay.
I think a very good example would be like Arjuna with Krishna. No, in the beginning he did not know. No, he did
Exactly.
not know.
Yes, because when Arjuna saw that universal form, no, then he asked for forgiveness from Krishna, saying that in the past I have spoken jokingly with you, I have sat on the same level as you, and have joked with you as a friend. But now that I see your universal form and I understand, no, this that you are the supreme personality of Godhead, therefore I ask for forgiveness. So immediately that relationship changes to a former relationship.
I
Correct.
think it's a very good example, right?
Yes, and also
Yes.
we will see when Krishna goes to Mathura and he's reunited with his parents, Devaki and Vasudev. So Krishna goes and releases them from the jail of Kamsa. Devaki and Vasudev know that Krishna is God, so they do not even embrace Krishna. Now, if you see your son after 12 years and he was separated from you at birth, and after 12 years you see your son, the parents and the child would naturally embrace, isn't it? But Devaki and Vasudev did not even embrace Krishna because they know that Krishna is God. So the relationship is more formal. But here on the other side, Yashoda, because she is covered by Yogamaya, she is chasing Krishna with one small stick. Right? And Krishna is also shedding tears. He's rubbing his eyes. He's afraid of Yashoda's stick. Like that.
¿Me escucha? ¿Me puede escuchar ahí?
Sí, Wendy, ¿puedo escuchar?
También en el Chaitanya Mahaprabhu yo comencé a escucharlo, a escucharlo por YouTube. Cuando comienza en los lila, dice el Señor Krishna que a él no le satisface ese amor en donde nos sentimos inferiores a él, que a él le satisface más el amor cuando es considerado como un cónyuge, como un amigo, como un padre, y así decía en Chaitanya Mahaprabhu cuando comencé a leerlo.
Jai. Muchas gracias por compartir, Mataji.
Gracias.
Yeah, Shailesh, you have your hand raised?
Yeah, the second part of my question is still not answered because the first part I understood that the Vrijvasis were covered by Yogamaya, but aren't the Brahmanas' wives also covered by Yogamaya? So why is it that they can move past it and the Vrijvasis can't?
See, the point here is, see, what is mentioned here is, let's see here, maybe. For a long time, the wives had been eager to see Krishna. However, when they were preparing to leave, okay. See here,
Later on, they
the
even
wives
say
of
that
the Brahmanas became anxious for Krishna and Balaram. Their reactions were spontaneous. They did not have to be convinced of the importance of Krishna and Balaram. Immediately upon hearing their names, they became very eager to see them. Being advanced by thinking of Krishna constantly, they were performing the greatest form of mystic meditation. So these wives have a spontaneous love for Krishna. They are also on the spontaneous platform. They spontaneously have that love for Krishna. They don't have to be externally educated and said that, look, Krishna is God, he's this, he's this, they are also, they have a natural attraction. They are also on that spontaneous platform. They have the natural attraction for Krishna.
but later on, they when they go to him, and Krishna tells them to go back to their households, then they specifically say that you are the supreme personality of Godhead, and when we have surrendered to you, then we should not have to go back to our households. And now that we have lost all interest in our households, why should we go back? So if there is a basic understanding that they know that he is the supreme personality of God.
So there are
So
times
I
when
just wanted to know how.
yeah, the time is there are times when Vrajavasis know and there are times when Vrajavasis don't know, because sometimes Yoga Maya lifts the curtain, most of the time she puts the curtain of Yoga Maya. Sometimes Krishna shows his opulence, just as how Krishna showed the universal form to Mother Yashoda in his mouth. So Yashoda saw, but then quickly again the curtain is put. So for the sake of Leelas, Krishna lifts the curtain sometimes and drops the curtain sometimes. So they are in and out. They know, they don't know. They know, they don't know. Most of the time they don't
So
know.
I
Sometimes
think
they know.
in this case, it is an instance where he has lifted the curtain, I suppose.
Yes, yes.
No, because wives were pure devotees, but the Brahmanas were not.
Correct. That is correct.
So that is why they love him so much, the Krishna.
Yes,
They missed him.
yes.
They, as soon as they heard, they wanted to see him personally.
Yes, correct.
But the problem with that is the Vrijvasis love him even more, they miss him even more. So
So this is spiritual competition. This is also Vraj only. This is also Vrindavan only. Na? These Brahmanas are also in Vrindavan only. It's not out of Vrindavan. Krishna is very much still in Vrindavan only. It's just that the gopis are cowherd boys and girls, and these are the wives of the Brahmanas. But the wives of the Brahmanas also are in Vrindavan. Everything is happening in Vrindavan only. Okay. Yeah, Priyanka?
Yes, Mataji, there is a one statement which is saying that felt the transcendental bliss of being merged with him. So, what is the meaning of being merged with him here? I'm actually thinking of Brahma Jyoti kind of thing.
No, Krishna has entered their hearts. Krishna has entered their hearts, and they are relishing and they are enjoying that bliss of being one with Krishna. They are together with Krishna, like that. It's not that they have entered Brahma Jyoti. Okay. So which verse is being referred to here?
Yeah,
We
in
are
this
exactly
line.
following Krishna's instruction in the Bhagavad Gita. One should surrender to him, giving up all varieties of occupational and religious duties. Which verse is this?
Sarva dharma parityaja.
Sarva dharma parityaja, which we've mentioned so many times. See here. Sarva dharma parityaja. This is the conclusion of the Bhagavad Gita. In the last chapter, it comes towards the end, 18.66. Krishna says, Sarva dharmam parityaja, abandon all varieties of religion. Mam ekam sharanam vraja, just surrender unto me, Krishna says. I shall deliver you from all sinful reactions. Aham tvam sarva papebhyo, I will deliver you from all sinful reactions. Moksha shami ma suchaha, do not fear, Krishna is saying. There is one version, or probably there is more than one version, I don't know, but definitely one version is there of the Bhagavad Gita by an unauthorized commentator, where this word sarva dharmam is changed to sarva adharmam parityaja. Why? Because this person thinks that why should one abandon all varieties of religion? Why should one abandon dharma? How can it be that Krishna is telling you to abandon dharma? So he changed that dharma to adharma. He's saying give up all adharma and surrender unto me. No? So this is why we stick to Srila Prabhupada's Bhagavad Gita, because Prabhupada will not change even one comma from the Shastras. He presents the Shastra as it is. So how to understand? No? If one was to argue, how can Krishna tell you to give up religion? How can Krishna tell you to give up dharma and surrender unto me? Well, as we discussed previously, there are different dharmas. There are so many dharmas. For example, as we mentioned in the previous class, Arjuna was perplexed what to follow, Kula Dharma or Kshatriya Dharma, protect the dynasty or to fight the war. But Krishna says, Sarva Dharma Pariteja, forget Kula Dharma, forget Kshatriya Dharma. You do, just surrender unto me. You do as I say. So that is the highest Dharma. That is the highest Dharma. Even Karna, no, in the Mahabharata, we see how Krishna told Karna, join the Pandavas. But Karna came up with his own dharma, his own principles, that no, I cannot abandon Duryodhan because he's a friend who helped me when I required the help. So therefore, it's my duty as a friend to now repay because I am indebted to Duryodhan. So I cannot give up Duryodhan. So Karna was thinking, sticking to his own religious principles, whereas he should have just surrendered and done what Krishna told him to do. So that's what Krishna is saying. Sarva dharmam parityaja. Does not matter, Karna. What is your dharma with Duryodhan? What is your duty as a friend? You have to repay him whatever favors he may have done to you. But because I'm saying, give up the company of Duryodhan and join the Pandavas, Karna did not follow this instruction. Sarva dharmam parityaja mam ekam sharanam raja. So there are different dharmas, but highest dharma, just execute what Krishna says. Okay. So here also we see Lord Chaitanya has taught us this feeling of oneness in his Shikshastaka. Krishna may act freely doing whatever he likes, but the devotee should always be in oneness or in agreement with his desires. So being one with Krishna means to be in agreement with the desires of Krishna. We align our desires with the desires of Krishna. Then Krishna will use us as an instrument. Just as how Arjuna aligned his desires with the desire of Krishna. Although Arjuna initially desired not to fight the war, but eventually he aligned his desire that yes, I will fight the war because Krishna wants me to fight the war. So when we align our desire with Krishna, then Krishna will use us as his instrument. Just as how Krishna used Arjuna as an instrument to fight that war and win the war. Krishna does not require Arjuna. Krishna already told Arjuna before the war began that you are winning this war. All these warriors are going to die. In that universal form, Arjuna saw all these warriors were entering into the mouth of the universal form. They were being crushed between the teeth of the universal form. No, so Arjuna already saw that all these warriors on the battlefield, they're going to die. So Krishna doesn't require Arjuna to fight the war, but Krishna used Arjuna as an instrument, nimitta matram, no, as an instrument. So when we align our desires with the desires of the Lord, then Krishna will use us as an instrument. So
Hare
this
Krishna,
is,
Mataji, can I ask you something?
what's that?
Can I ask you something?
Yes.
So morally, like as you just mentioned, if like you gave the example of Karna, even though morally it would be wrong, somebody who helped you, like Duryodhan helped him in the time of need, but because it's Lord himself saying that, give up everything and surrender unto me or do what as I say, that's correct, right?
Yes, because that is the highest moral. There can be no higher moral than surrendering to Krishna. So there are different morals, But the highest moral is Sarva Dharmam Pariteja. Mam
Okay,
Ekam
thank you.
Sharanam Vraja.
Thank you. Hare Krishna.
Okay, so here Lord Chaitanya is praying, no, that Krishna may act freely, he can do whatever he likes. So this is here, this is from the Shikshastakam prayers actually. The only thing that Chaitanya Mahaprabhu left behind in writing were the Shikshastakam prayers. Shikshastakam, Ashtak means 8 and Shiksha means instruction. So they are 8 paragraphs or 8 verses in which Chaitanya Mahaprabhu wrote. So in this Shikshastakam verse, he is praying, no, Lord Chaitanya Mahaprabhu is praying, let Krishna tightly embrace this maid servant who has fallen at his lotus feet, or let him trample me or break my heart by never being visible to me. He is a debauchee after all and can do whatever he likes, but still he alone and no one else is the worshipable Lord of my heart. So this is the mood of a devotee. Okay, coming back to Krishna book. Krishna welcomed them with the following words. My dear wives of the Brahmanas, you are all very fortunate and are welcome here. Please let me know what can I do for you. Your coming here to see me, neglecting all the restrictions and hindrances of relatives, fathers, brothers and husbands is completely befitting. One who does this actually knows his self-interest, because rendering transcendental loving service unto me without motive or restriction is actually auspicious for the living entities. Lord Krishna here confirms that the conditioned soul can reach the highest perfectional stage by surrendering to him. One must give up all other responsibilities. This complete surrender unto the supreme personality of Godhead is the most auspicious path for the conditioned soul, because the Supreme Lord is the supreme objective of love. Everyone is loving his self according to the advancement of his knowledge. Ultimately, when a person comes to understand that his self is the spirit soul and that the spirit soul is nothing but a part and parcel of the Supreme Lord, he recognizes the Supreme Lord as the ultimate goal of love and then surrenders unto him. This surrender is considered auspicious for the conditioned soul. Our life, property, home, wife, children, house, country, society, and all paraphernalia which are very dear to us are expansions of the Supreme Personality of Godhead. He is the central object of love because he gives us all bliss, expanding himself in so many ways according to our different situations, namely bodily, mental, and spiritual. So, no matter what we have, all that we possess, everything is coming from Krishna. There is nothing that can exist independent of Krishna. My dear wives of the Brahmanas, Krishna said, you can now return to your homes, engage yourselves in sacrificial activities and in the service of your husbands and household affairs, so that your husbands will be pleased with you and the sacrifice which they have begun will be properly executed. After all, your husbands are householders, and without your help, how can they execute their prescribed duties? So without the wife, the Brahmanas, they cannot finish the yagyas. No? For the yagya, the wife has to be with the husband. Just as how Lord Ram, after Sita went to the forest, he had taken a Ekapatni Vrata, so he cannot get married again, and he does not have Sita by his side. So he made this murti of Sita Devi, and then all the yagyas were done with the murti of Sita Devi by his side, because without the wife, the yagyas cannot be completed by the husbands. The wives of the Brahmana replied, Dear Lord, this sort of instruction does not befit you. Your eternal promise is that you always protect your devotees, and now you must fulfill this promise. Anyone who comes and surrenders unto you never goes back to the conditioned life of material existence. We expect that you will now fulfill your promise. We have surrendered unto your lotus feet, which are covered by tulsi leaves. So we have no desire to give up the shelter of your lotus feet and return to the company of our so-called relatives, friends, and society. And what shall we do if we return home? Our husbands, brothers, fathers, sons, mothers, and friends will no longer accept us at home, because we have already left them all. Therefore, we have no shelter to return to. Please, therefore, do not ask us to return home, but arrange for our stay under your lotus feet, so that we can eternally live under your protection. The Supreme Personality of Godhead replied, My dear wives of the Brahmanas, rest assured that your husbands will not neglect you on your return, nor will your brothers, sons, or fathers refuse to accept you. Because you are my pure devotees, not only your relatives but also people in general, as well as the demigods, will be satisfied with you. Krishna is situated as a supersoul in everyone's heart. So someone who becomes a pure devotee of Lord Krishna immediately becomes pleasing to everyone. The pure devotee of Lord Krishna is never inimical to anyone. Nor can any sane person be an enemy of a pure devotee. Transcendental love for me does not depend upon bodily connection, Krishna said further. But anyone whose mind is always absorbed in me will surely very soon come to me for my eternal association. So Krishna wants them to go back now, and they are concerned that their family will not accept, but Krishna says definitely they will accept you. After being instructed by the Supreme Personality of Godhead, all the wives returned home to their respective husbands. Pleased to see their wives back home, the Brahmanas sat together with them and executed the performances of sacrifice as enjoined in the Shastras. According to Vedic principle, religious rituals must be executed by the husband and wife together. When the Brahmanas' wives returned, the sacrifice was duly and nicely executed. One of the Brahmanas' wives, however, who had been forcibly checked from going to see Krishna, began to remember him as she heard of his bodily features. Being completely absorbed in his thought, she gave up her material body, conditioned by the laws of nature. So one wife of the Brahmana, not gopi, one wife of the Brahmana was restricted. She was not allowed to go and see Krishna like the other wives. So she gave up her body, and in her subtle body, she went and saw Krishna like the other Brahmana wives. So she went there in her subtle body, not in her cross body. Yeah, Shailesh, you have your hand raised?
Like the wives said that after they surrender, they are supposed to get liberation, but then they are told to go back. So, I mean, because after that, again, whatever karma they do, that'll again affect their chance at liberation while they've already surrendered to Krishna.
Okay. So when one is a devotee, when one has surrendered to Krishna, now no more the laws of karma act on that person because he is under Krishna's protection. So even though a devotee is still physically, from the external angle of vision, living in the material world with a family, because that devotee has surrendered to Krishna, then one is directly under the protection of Krishna. See, I was reading this, there is a Vaishnava saint called Sri Hari Suri, and he writes in his commentary, he was an 18th century Vaishnava saint. He was born in Nasik. So he explains in the Damodar Leela, why is it that Krishna stops the churning rod? Because Yashoda in the Damodar Leela, she's churning butter, and then Krishna wakes up and he immediately goes and stops the churning rod. So he explains, Sri Hari Suri, he explains, why is it that Krishna stops that churning rod? Because when one devotee surrenders to Krishna, when one devotee is engaging in devotional service with love for Krishna, then immediately the law of karma stops for that person. And Yashoda is a pure devotee of Krishna. She is churning butter for the pleasure of Krishna. So she is surrendered to Krishna and she is churning. But once Krishna comes and stops the churning to indicate that now the rod is in my hands. Of course, Yamaraj has a rod. Yamaraj punishes. Yamaraj makes us pay for our good and bad actions, because we are in the material world. And for a non-devotee, we have to pay for our past sinful reactions. And Yamaraj punishes us. He chastises, he punishes us, and he has this rod. But a devotee does not have to be afraid of that rod of Yamaraj, because now Krishna has the rod in his hands. So for a devotee, the rod is in Krishna's hands. So devotee is under the protection of Krishna. So although he may be living from the external angle of vision, a materialistic life, but because he has surrendered to Krishna, now no more the law of karma acts on the devotee. So this is the case with the Brahmana's wife. Okay. After the departure of the Brahmana's wife, Sri Govinda and his cowherd boyfriends enjoyed the food they had offered. In this way, the ever-joyful personality of Godhead exhibited his transcendental pastimes in the guise of an ordinary human being in order to attract the common people to Krishna consciousness. With his words and beauty, he attracted all the cows, cowherd boys, and damsels in Vrindavan. All of them together enjoyed the pastimes of the Lord. So why does Krishna perform all these leelas? Why does he do all these pastimes? In order to attract the common people to Krishna consciousness. Because if now, let's say now the boys were hungry and Krishna by his mystic power just, okay, manifests food over there. Okay, here you have this great feast, eat it, and then we all go back to our homes. Then there's no leela. What is the attraction that? Or even in the Damodar leela, if Yashoda is churning butter, Krishna has got up, he's hungry, he's drinking the milk from Yashoda's breast, and then that's it. Then where is a leela? But what Krishna does, he makes the milk boil. Then Yashoda puts him down. She goes to attend to the boiling milk, and then Krishna is feeding the monkeys, and then she's chasing him, she's binding him. All these leelas. Why is Krishna doing all that? Is because he wants to attract the common people to Krishna consciousness. When we are attracted to Krishna leela, then we are attracted to the one who has performed those leelas. That's why he does. That's why Krishna is called as Leela Purushottam. Leela Purushottam. There is no equal to Krishna when it comes to performing transcendental pastimes. Lord Ramachandra is Maryada Purushottam. He conducts his life exactly according to Shastras, no? According to what should be done and what should not be done to the T. He is Maryada Purushottam Ram. But Lord Krishna is Leela Purushottam. After the return of their wives from Krishna, the Brahmanas engaged in the performance of sacrifices began to regret their sinful activities in refusing food to the Supreme Personality of Godhead. They could finally understand their mistake. Engaged in the performance of Vedic rituals, they had neglected the Supreme Personality of Godhead, who had appeared just like an ordinary human being, and asked for some food. They began to condemn themselves after seeing the faith and devotion of their wives. They regretted very much that although their wives were elevated to the platform of pure devotional service, they themselves could not understand even a little bit of how to love and offer transcendental loving service to the Supreme Soul. They began to talk among themselves. To hell with our being born Brahmanas, to hell with our learning all the Vedic literatures, to hell with our performing great sacrifices and observing all the rules and regulations, to hell with our family, to hell with our expert service in performing the rituals exactly according to the description of the scriptures. To hell with it all, for we have not developed transcendental loving service to the Supreme Personality of Godhead, who is beyond the speculation of the mind, body, and
Body and sense.
the learned Brahmanas, expert in Vedic ritualistic performances, were properly regretful, because if one does not develop Krishna consciousness, all discharge of religious duties is simply a waste of time and energy. They continued to talk among themselves. The external energy of Krishna is so strong that it can create illusion to overcome even the greatest mystic yogi. Although we expert Brahmanas are considered to be the teachers of all other sections of human society, we also have been illusioned by the external energy. Just see how unfortunate these women are. Just see how fortunate these women are. They have so devotedly dedicated their lives to the Supreme Personality of Godhead Krishna that they easily did what is ordinarily so difficult. They gave up their family connections, which are just like a dark well, for the continuation of material miseries. Women in general, being very simple at heart, can very easily take to Krishna consciousness. And when they develop love of Krishna, they can easily get liberation from the clutches of Maya, which are very difficult for even so-called intelligent and learned men to surpass. So this Maya here is which Maya? Yoga Maya or Mahamaya?
Mahamaya.
Yogamaya. Yogamaya.
Mahamaya, because Mahamaya takes us away from Krishna. Yogamaya takes us closer to Krishna. When the residents of Vrindavan are under the curtain of Yogamaya, it enhances the pastimes. There is more intimacy in their relationship. There is more informality, more love, more affection, more intimacy in the relationship. So Yogamaya takes people closer to Krishna, but Mahamaya brings all kinds of distractions to test how sincere you are. So Mahamaya takes you away from Krishna. So the devotees of Krishna are under the curtain of Yoga Maya. The non-devotees, they are under the influence of Mahamaya. The Brahmanas continued. According to Vedic injunction, women are not allowed to undergo the purificatory process of initiation by the sacred thread, nor are they allowed to live as brahmacharinis in the ashram of the spiritual master, nor are they advised to undergo the strict disciplinary procedures, nor are they very expert in discussing the philosophy of self-realization, and by nature they are not very pure, nor are they very much attracted to auspicious activities. Therefore, how wonderful it is that these women have developed transcendental love for Krishna, the Lord of all mystic yogis. They have surpassed all of us in firm faith and devotion unto Krishna. Although we are considered to be masters in all purificatory processes, we did not actually know what their goal is because we are too much attached to the materialistic way of life. Even though we were reminded of Krishna and Balaram by the cowherd boys, we disregarded them. We now think that the Supreme Personality of Godhead simply played a trick of mercy on us by sending his friends to beg food from us. Otherwise, he had no need to send them. He could have satisfied their hunger and there just by then and there, just by willing to do so. Oh, my screen froze again. If someone denies the self-sufficiency of Krishna on hearing that he was tending the cows for his livelihood, or if someone doubts his not being in need of the food, thinking that he was actually hungry, then such a person should understand that the goddess of fortune is always engaged in his service. In this way, the goddess can break her faulty habit of restlessness. In Vedic literature, like the Brahma Samhita, it is stated that Krishna is served in his abode with great respect, not only one goddess of fortune, but by many thousands. Therefore, it is simply illusion for one to think that Krishna begged food from the Brahmanas. It was actually a trick to show them mercy by teaching them that they should accept him in pure devotional service instead of engaging in ritualistic ceremonies. The Vedic ceremonial paraphernalia, the suitable place, the suitable time, the different grades of articles for performing the ritualistic ceremonies, the Vedic hymns, the process of sacrifice, the priest who is able to perform the sacrifice, the fire, the demigods, the performer of the sacrifice, and the religious principles are all meant for understanding Krishna. For Krishna is the Supreme Personality of Godhead. He is the Supreme Lord Vishnu and the Lord of all mystic powers. So, the goddess of fortune, how do we know her? By which name? Which Devi?
Vishnu.
Goddess of fortune.
Lakshmi.
Lakshmi
Lakshmi.
Mataji.
Lakshmi Devi, no, Lakshmi Devi. So, what is this faulty habit of restlessness that she has?
She's not stable in one place. She keeps moving. Chanchal, they call it.
Yes, Chanchala, no? She's called Chanchal. She doesn't stay in one place. She keeps moving. So how can this habit of a restlessness be broken?
By taking
Ritualistic ceremony.
By engaging her in the service of her husband. Wherever Narayan is there, Lakshmi is automatically.
Lakshmi Devi.
The wife is always going to be with the husband. So Lakshmi Devi by nature, she's Chanchal. She keeps moving. But where Narayan is, automatically Lakshmi is there by the side of her husband. So when we worship Narayan, automatically there is Lakshmi. When Srila Prabhupada went to the West, he wanted to establish Krishna consciousness because he had devotion for Lord Krishna in his heart. Therefore, Lakshmi came to him. No, he had only $7, 40 rupees in his pocket. At that time, it was equivalent to $7. All that he had. But then later, by the mercy of Sri Krishna, he was able to open 108 centers all over the world within 12 years. So actually, if you go to see, even if you see the success story of all these great millionaires, all these great materialists, nobody has a greater success story than that of Srila Prabhupada. Even if you see how much money he earned, of course, he made all that money for Krishna. He established these temples for Krishna. But if you see from the material angle of vision also, how much money he was able to make within 12 years at the age of 70, nobody else has been able to do it on the planet. So there is no greater success story than that of Srila Prabhupada. But of course, Srila Prabhupada kept himself in the background. He always kept Krishna in front, just as how a devotee always puts Krishna in the center and the devotee keeps himself in the background. Therefore, outside the devotee circle, not many people know about Srila Prabhupada's success story. Okay. So here is that verse from the Brahma Samhita. Lord Brahma is praying in the Brahma Samhita. I worship the primeval Lord, the first progenitor who is tending the cows, yielding all desire in abodes built with spiritual gems, surrounded by millions of purpose trees, always served with great reverence and affection by hundreds of thousands of Lakshmis or gopis. Lakshmi Sahasra Sata. So he is worshipped by hundreds and thousands of Lakshmis. So one should not think that, oh, Krishna is begging for some food. No. He's doing this because he's showing mercy on the Brahmanas. Because he has appeared as a child in the dynasty of the Yadus, we were so foolish that we could not understand that he is the supreme personality of God, the Brahmana said. But on the other hand, we are very proud because we have such exalted wives who have developed pure transcendental service of the Lord without being shackled by our rigid opposition. Let us therefore offer our respectful obeisances unto the lotus feet of Krishna, under whose illusory energy called Maya we are absorbed in fruitive activities. We therefore pray to the Lord to be kind enough to excuse us because we are simply captivated by his external energy. We transgressed his order without knowing his transcendental glories. The Brahmanas repented their sinful activities. They wanted to go personally to offer their obeisances unto him, but being afraid of Kamsa, they could not go to Krishna and surrender unto him. In other words, it is very difficult for one to surrender fully unto the personality of Godhead without being purified by devotional service. The example of the learned Brahmanas and their wives is vivid. The wives of the Brahmanas, because they were inspired by pure devotional service, did not care for any kind of opposition. They immediately went to Krishna. But the Brahmanas, although they had come to know the supremacy of the Lord and were repenting, were still afraid of King Kamsa because they were too much addicted to fruitive activities. Thus ends the Bhaktivedanta purport of the 23rd chapter of Krishna, delivering the wives of the Brahmanas who performed sacrifices. So see, one quality of a Vaishnava, one quality of the devotee is that a devotee is fearless because he knows that Krishna will protect me. Just as how Prahlad was completely fearless, and on the strength of his spirituality, he was able to defeat Hiranyakashipu. So on that note, by the mercy of Sri Guru and Sri Krishna, we come to the end of today's presentation. Srila Prabhupada ki Jai.
Okay.
Shailesh, you have your hand raised?
I just wanted to ask, see, by the end of the chapter, we understand that the Brahmanas realize that he is the supreme personality of Godhead. And then they say that without attaining him, the sacrifices are useless. So I didn't understand then when they know that the sacrifices would be useless without him, why don't they still refrain from visiting him?
Because they have the fear of Kamsa still in their heart. They are not able to overcome the fear. So one can theoretically know things. There is a difference between knowing something theoretically and actually executing that. So theoretically they have realized, they know it, but still there is some fear in their heart. So therefore they are not able to fully surrender or go to Krishna as they desire.
But then the whole function of their life is to carry out yajnas and ensure their success. So, and they themselves saying that without him, the yajnas are useless. So, I mean, the entire point of their life becomes useless, right? I mean, the point of a life of a Brahmana is to teach and to perform yajnas. So that's why I was thinking they should have been keen to meet him irrespective of what Kṛṣṇa was saying.
That is the difference between a Brahmana and a Vaishnava. A Brahmana knows, but a Vaishnava executes it because a Vaishnava is a devotee. Okay. Yeah, Priyanka?
Yes, Mataji, I have actually two questions. The first one is that we see that Kṛṣṇa telling the wife of Brāhmaṇa to go back and do the duty of as the wife of their husband. But then on the other hand, we also see in Bhagavad Gita that he tells the dharman parityajya mamekam charanam braj. Then how do we understand why Kṛṣṇa is encouraging the wife to go back and do the ritualistic duties instead of saying, is it to show us those who are performing the duty they should not be disturbed, or is it something else?
See, now, if the Brahmana's wives are doing their duties, it is not ritualistic because they are doing it under the instruction of Kṛṣṇa. So that is Sarva Dharmam Parityaja only. Because that execution now is under the instruction of Kṛṣṇa. They are doing it because they want to please Kṛṣṇa by following what Kṛṣṇa says. So there is a difference between the before and after. So we cannot say that now they are going to engage in the materialistic, ritualistic duties because now they are doing it under Kṛṣṇa's instruction.
Yeah.
Because Kṛṣṇa wants them, and for the pleasure of Kṛṣṇa, they are going to do what Kṛṣṇa says. But there is one comment I'm not able to recall now, but I will look it up. I read it in the commentary of Srila Vishwanath Chakravarti Thakur, because he compares this to the pastime of the Rasa dance. When the gopis went to Kṛṣṇa the night of the Rasa dance, Kṛṣṇa told them the same thing, go back to their homes. But they did not go back. Here in this case, he told the wives of the Brahmanas, go back to your homes, and they went back. So he compares these two incidents and he writes something about it. But I'm not able to recall it right now. I'm sure in that section, there will be a detailed answer to your question. So I will look it up and I will share it in the group. Okay, I don't remember it right now what I read, but it's there. I'm sure it's there. I will look it up and share it.
Yes, Mataji, I have one more question. How did Brahmana suddenly get the realization that Kṛṣṇa is the Supreme Personality of Godhead? I was thinking of the angle that since their wives are the pure devotees, so by seeing the pure devotees, some get some mercy of the Brahman got some mercy. Is it on that angle, or is it something else? How did Brahman get certain realization? Because it is not mentioned. I don't know if even if it's mentioned, I cannot find it.
So the Brahmanas got that realization because their wives are pure devotees, and by the association of pure devotees, they have got that realization. Their good fortune of the Brahmanas is that they are associating with a devotee. And they have shown by their own example how a devotee should behave. So the Brahmanas have seen how their wives did not care for their family ties, how they were fearless because they know that if I leave my husband and go, I may not be accepted back into the house of my husband. But they don't care for all that. They only know that I have to surrender to Kṛṣṇa. I have to go to Kṛṣṇa. So they have seen with the example of their wives that how a devotee should behave. And just as how Kṛṣṇa promised that they will be accepted back in their homes, Kṛṣṇa gave them the realization so that they accept their wives back into their homes. Because Kṛṣṇa promised the wives, no, that you go back, your husbands will definitely accept you, your family will definitely accept you. So how will they accept them? Only when they get that realization. So Kṛṣṇa in the heart removes the darkness of ignorance by the shining lamp of knowledge. So in order to fulfill his promise to the Brahmana's wives, he has removed their ignorance. And they have come to the realization. Again, because they have that association of a devotee. Okay.
Thank you, Mataji.
Hare Krishna. Anything else we need to discuss? Are we ready for the exam?
Yes.
Okay, let me get the link. In the next class, we will be seeing the very famous Govardhan Leela.
What?
In
Can
the
you
next
repeat that?
class, we will be seeing the very famous Govardhan Leela. How many of y'all have been to Govardhan? Anybody has been there? Priyanka, you've been there? Very nice. Anybody else? Priyanka Jha, Kamala Nandini Mataji. Who else? Jai Radhe Tela,
I have been there.
Gokul Priya Devidasi Mataji, Lavina Dadlani Mataji. Very nice. So those who have not been, please plan to visit Govardhan. Okay, your list, there in your chat, you have your link for the exam.